Hi, everybody. This is Paula Harris. So, kind of named this segment Drones, UFOs, and Other Things. People that know me know I will not rebrand UFOs into UAPs just to make them more credible. With 45 research years behind me, having started with Alan Hynek, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, and written a bestseller with Dr. Jacques Vallée. I mean, I don't have to rebrand what UFOs are just to make them credible. And I don't have to necessarily believe that the only way that we can make this credible is to be in the New York Times. So I'm one of those journalists that keeps working. But for me, the information is just not coming from the United States, it's coming from all over the world. I'm very plugged in to what's happening in Europe. I'm very plugged into Jaime Maussan's operation in Mexico City, where I was just present and saw all kinds of film footage of UFOs in China, in Ukraine, in Russia, and in Israel. In fact, I saw UFO footage from a UFO over a base in Israel. And these things we don't get here. So, but it wouldn't make any difference because I think this is my only opinion, and I have to put it on my TV channel that we have so much data. We have so many witnesses. We have so many military people. Whether you want to go back to the early days with Keo, um, with Donald Keogh, with Wendell Stevens and APRO, the Aerial Phenomenon Research Organization, with the recently released books of Britt Elders and Billy Meyer, where Britt, Wendell Stevens, and Britt's husband, Lee Elders, did 7 years of work on the Billy Meyer case in Switzerland, but that was 1970. So I've even gone back farther, the 1950s, and found all kinds of disclosure. But what happens is people want the what I call the latest flavor of ice cream. So they want the latest. So the latest are drones. And where does that bring us? So the thing is that no, you can't have an answer to that because whatever answer there is different from every state or place that these things are seen. The drones over New Jersey could be to remind you of the 1938 Orson Welles transmission of War of the Worlds. If that's why they're there, then they're testing the reaction of humanity to a whole bunch of lights in the sky. And I was really excited because it did not affect anybody. Nobody, committed suicide or ran to their cars or thought there was an alien invasion. I think what people are waiting for is a systematic, a logical answer, which I personally, as a researcher, don't believe anybody has. I mean, this is so complex. And it gets more complex when you realize we have three different departments of military: the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy. And the Navy is in charge of UFOs, the Navy pilots, NASA, and everything. But Colonel Corso and Clifford Stone were part of Army. Were part of the Army, which was very, very important at that time. So the Air Force probably did Blue Book and they got through with it. And it was like nothing was there, even though I can't understand. When I go back to the Blue Book files and realize that what went to the University of Colorado was the 1969 Maelstrom Air Force Base missile shutdown, where those soldiers said they were UFOs shutting the missiles down in Oscar and Echo battalions. And then Robert Salas has been at the Citizen hearing. He's been all over the world. He was in the bunker when the UFOs shut the missiles down, 1969. That's Air Force. And they did not pay attention to that. Then I'm wondering, what exactly is anybody going to pay attention to? You're not going to get the answers there. My thoughts are you're going to get the answers by doing your own research and putting together the dots. My book, Connecting the Dots, Making Sense of the UFO Phenomenon, is out on Amazon with 28 interviews from top level people, whether they be Jacques Vallée, Alan Hynek, Monsignor Balducci, Edgar Mitchell, Zachariah Sitchin, Dr. John Mack. I asked all these people about their research. And since we don't get together, we researchers, and put together the puzzle, then you have to do it. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do this. So if you want to know, I mean, I don't think the government even does any kind of research. You'd have to go all over the world. The last part of my career was in Latin America. What are you going to go to Colombia? And well, you will go to Brazil. That's where the Virginia case was, that the Americans were there. You will go different places, but somebody has to be making a map on the wall, putting this together. I'm very logical when I look at UFO research, but I'm going to end this video with saying that the data is all there. I mean, I've written 7 books. They're all interviews. The Trinity case with Jacques Vallée shows that our first crash was not Roswell. It was in 1945 in San Antonio, New Mexico. 4 witnesses. So the thing is that if you start from the atomic bomb blast and you start looking at what we have put together in the puzzle so far, it's going to be a lot of fun to put it together yourself. But you have to do the work. You can't go to some podcast that doesn't have any idea who Adamski was, or or Billy Meyer, and people should look at that material today, because there's very real messages. So the data is there. What's exciting for me is I realize that the bottom line, after 45 years, the messages have to do with the raising of human consciousness. And that really interests me. That's the exciting part. How do we do that? That's the big question. How do we raise human consciousness and grow up so we are not the same species we were during the Cold War?